Library on our Blackwood campus and in the Student Learning Center on our Camden campus. We also offer remote and limited online tutoring options for flexible support wherever you are. Our dedicated tutors are here to empower you every step of the way. Don't hesitate. Reach out and let's achieve your best together.
Did you know that approximately 7 out of 10 college students face mental health challenges? Help Camden County College's Center for Counseling and Wellness to understand the state of our students' well-being, identify areas for growth within our existing systems, and inform future mental health and wellness programs. Our Healthy Minds study will be launching on October 6th, and every Camden County College student will receive a link to the student survey via email. Each student who participates in the survey will be entered into a raffle and will be eligible to win a gift card up to $250, a Camden County College gift basket, or a mental health gift basket. If you have any questions, please reach out to the Counseling Center, counseling@camdencc.edu.
Did you know that Camden County College has a volleyball club? Well, if not, you are in for a treat. This gives students the opportunity to build strength, improve cardiovascular health, burn calories, enhance hand-eye coordination, increase flexibility, and social interactions as well, all while having a blast. The volleyball club runs Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. through Monday, December 1st, and is located in the Papiano Gymnasium. Membership applications and physical forms are required, and you can contact the club advisor, Drew Jones Edwards, for more information at djonesedwards@camdencc.edu, or you can come in person to the office at Papiano Gymnasium Suite 100D. And remember, if you want to get in a workout while having a blast, well, remember, the volleyball club is here for you.
And welcome back to 91.5 WDBK for Vinny's Voice. Now, at the bottom of the hour, again, if you are kind of tuning in on the YouTube stream, yes, you may have missed the whole first portion of the show, the Eagles portion of the show. It's okay. We did not stream for the first section. It's a Monday. We're allowed to make those mistakes. I'm allowed to make those mistakes, right? I'm not supposed to know where my mind is yet, right? But we're here for the second portion. Of course, if you missed it, yes, Brian Daboll, the Giants head coach, has been officially fired. He is out as their head coach. As well, we were talking about Jalen Phillips, his first start tonight, debut. Multiple reports saying that he'll be ready to go. And of course, we all know as well, Jair Alexander will not be playing tonight, to give him some more time to get into the system and to kind of develop himself a little bit more, as well as he's coming off of a knee injury. So yes, we all went over some more things, right? We went over a whole segment in a way. Unfortunately, if you're watching again on the YouTube stream, you did miss that. I apologize once again. But if you're listening on the radio, you're all informed and you know what is going on, which you should be, right? Listen on 91.5 WDBK. But to react to some of these score predictions, and especially, you look at the Eagles moving forward, right? In their next 3 games, they have the Green Bay Packers tonight on Monday Night Football. Then you're back-to-back on primetime games. You go next week against the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football, and that will be in Philadelphia. And then you go up against your rivals in Dallas. Yes, and you'll be wearing your Kelly Greens because, the Cowboys only wear one jersey. And I still love, and I always go after the Cowboys on that when they say, they only usually wear the white jerseys because the darker jerseys are apparently bad luck. That's all I got to say to that. A laugh. That is all I give to that. You consider the darker jerseys to be bad luck, yet you still find a way to flop every single season in your white jerseys and choke every single season in your white jerseys. So I love that. Absolutely. I mean, it makes me laugh every single time. There's like, well, our dark jerseys calls bad luck and your white jerseys don't. Really? That's beautiful. That's honestly, that is one heck of a statement right there. That is one heck of a statement. Dallas logic for you folks. But yes, so I asked another question. This is something where, again, you can utilize the WDBK text line 856-345-9325. I asked, what is your score prediction for tonight's Eagles-Packers matchup? And I'll throw another question in there as well. What do you think the Eagles' record will be in these next upcoming 3 games? I listed them. The Packers tonight, the Lions next week on Sunday Night Football in South Philadelphia, and then as well with the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. So leave your name and leave where you're texting in from. Let's hear it. Let's hear your opinions. Let's hear it. Do you think the Eagles will go 3-0 in these next upcoming games? In the next upcoming 3 games, I should say. Restate that, right? Do you think they'll lose 1? Do you think they'll lose 2? Do you think they'll win 2 and lose 1? I mean, what is your thoughts? Let's hear it. Text into the show. Again, 856-345-9325. I want to hear your thoughts. And I already had someone text in and say about the upcoming, the Birds go 3-0. And this came from a guy listed as at the Rock Fan 98, said, I'm feeling really good to be 3-0. Go Birds. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the enthusiasm. 3-0. Go Birds. I mean, this is something where we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it develops. We'll have to see how the Eagles come out on attack and how they plan on attack. It all goes off of how the Eagles' offense as well continues to come out. You're going up against a Green Bay Packers team, which has had don't get me wrong, has had their ups and downs. Their last game, right? I mean, you look overall with Green Bay, was kind of something where, again, I've mentioned it multiple times. It's been up and down. The definition of an up and down season, right? And right now, that whole NFC North area is you know how it is, right? I don't have to explain it. It's a very close situation. The Packers lead it, and now they have a tie, but they are coming off of a loss. And they're coming off of a loss to the Carolina Panthers, and not in Carolina. They came off a loss to the Carolina Panthers in Green Bay. So what a statement that was to witness last week. Now, Jordan Love threw for an interception last week. Of course, no touchdowns thrown. His QB rating was 87.42. Completion percentage was 26 out of 37. So to see a team like the Panthers really go in and kick butt was interesting. Now I understand with the Panthers, they got Bryce Young back. Prior to that, the Panthers got absolutely railed in their prior week's matchup. Matter of fact, yesterday they got beat by the Saints. So, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, right? How do you beat the Packers and you lose to the Saints, which was also listed as probably one of the worst teams in the league at this time? But they got beat 40-9 against the Bills in the prior week. In week 8, and then week 9 came along, they beat the Packers, and then they lost to the Saints. So the Panthers are in that situation where it's the definition of a rebuilding team. They were above 500 for the first time in years, feels like, with a 5-4 record. The loss yesterday put them back at a 5-5, but it's nice to see the Panthers developing themselves once again, and as well developing Bryce Young. So I'll give them that benefit of the doubt. Even though yesterday Bryce Young, I mean, it still was 17-25. He had one interception. His QB rating was not great, 66.02. But still, I see a QB that is developing finally for the Carolina Panthers. And my big-time worry with the Panthers was always like, they're probably going to ruin poor Bryce Young. Something that I didn't necessarily want to see. But still, you look at Green Bay, and that's the situation that comes up. That's the situation that occurs, and that's what we end up looking at. So, folks, what do we expect out of tonight? And this is something where I throw it back on the Eagles' offense, right? I throw it back on their ability to come out fast. Now, whether they start with the ball, whether they don't start with the ball, we'll see how things go. Right now, the win probability for this game has the Packers favored by literally barely a percentage. They're 50.4% favored compared to the Eagles' 49.6%, and that's win probability, folks. So the first time in a while that the Eagles have not been favored in a game. And this is something where it all kind of goes, it gets into that consideration. You have to take a lot of things into consideration when you're talking about this. And you're coming off, of course, right, a big win over the Giants. The most explosive game for the Birds that they have had this year. They won 38-20, right? We all know what was going on there. Jalen Hurts, again, almost had back-to-back weeks with a perfect QB rating. Of course, the prior week he had a 158 QB rating against the Minnesota Vikings. And then against the Giants, it wasn't 158, but it was close. It was 151. 15 completions on 20 attempts, a 75-yard long. Threw for 179 yards, but had 4 passing touchdowns. So it's all going to come down to the balanced offense that the Birds like to run, especially knowing, what we saw from last game, right? Kevin Patullo. And their ability to as well convert in key situations. Again, Tank Bigsby with that huge run that he had, that 29-yard run that got him the first down, that third and long. Or second and long, excuse me. And that was the difference last game for the Eagles, was usually, and we've seen this multiple times in the past, when the Eagles get in a situation where a big sack happens, and again, going specifically back to that Tank Bigsby play where a huge sack happens on Hurts, a couple stupid plays happens where the Eagles lose yards, they get caught behind the line of scrimmage, and they go backwards. Usually when you see plays like that happen, all of us kind of go in the same area of thinking where, okay, they're done. This drive is cooked. They're probably going to run a stupid play that's only going to get them about 5 yards, and then they'll punt it away. That's how it usually goes for the Eagles in that situation. They usually fold, they roll over, and they die. And that was not exactly what happened last game. They were able to convert in those key situations. They were able to get those conversions. We saw it multiple times as well with Hurts improving with looking upfield on the scramble, being able to find his guys downfield. We saw a big play with that in the Minnesota Vikings game that helped develop a scoring drive with that A.J. Brown touchdown, going back to the Minnesota Vikings game where there was another big-time event right there. But being able to look downfield and get the job done, we've been seeing the Eagles convert when the time matters most. And this is something that we didn't see from the Eagles in the beginning of the season. And it seems like the same situation of what's happening last year, where the Eagles go through their sloppy play. And this all goes back to, I know the Eagles, and a lot of teams don't do this, they don't play their players in the preseason. Therefore, the first 4 weeks of the season are usually a big WTF. You're looking at that, you're like, what even is this? What type of football is this? Is this even NFL football? And that's kind of what you see from the Eagles. We've seen it in multiple different years. And you want to talk about last year especially. That was a big thing. People wanted Kellen Moore to be fired so early on in the season. There's a perfect example of a slow start. And yet the Eagles were doing it again. Now, here comes the test, right? Obviously, this bye week is later in the season than last year's bye week was. Last year it was in week 5, right? It was an early bye week, and they kind of needed that. But they just got wins, period, after that bye week. No loss. It was a straight go last year after that bye. They put the pedal to the metal and they went. Now that's the big question. How are the Eagles going to come out of this bye week? You went into the bye week with a big win. You're coming out of the bye week with multiple new pieces and as well with getting guys back. Again, we mentioned in Nolan Smith back on full participation. We mentioned that in the first segment. Again, for you guys viewing on YouTube, you didn't unfortunately get to see that first segment because Moron over here didn't hit the go live button. But it's okay. Again, if you're listening on the radio, you are updated on everything already, right? Again, my fault, right? But still, we talked about Nolan Smith being listed back on full participation. We talked about Jacorian Bennett, again, your edge and your cornerback area. The same positions that got helped out at the trade deadline with the Eagles. We mentioned Jalen Phillips, the edge, and Jair Alexander, the cornerback. Okay. But you got some depth coming back. You got some depth. And this is something where, you look at the Eagles' Friday injury report that came in, and to see these guys listed back on full participation is definitely a gift that I can tell you. Now, you still had Cam Jurgens. That's the only unfortunate thing. You still have Cam Jurgens listed on DNP, which did not participate, meaning so he's out still. And Adoree Jackson as well, who is still out. Now, Adoree Jackson as well had a concussion, but he did not participate in the Friday practice on November 7th because of a personal matter is what was said. It has listed a personal matter and a concussion. It has a slash. So who knows? But A.J. Brown is back on full participation once again. The hamstring is good. And again, with A.J. Brown, there was a lot of concern coming into the A.J. Brown's case, right? We all know A.J. Brown, he had hamstring issues at the beginning portion of the season. There were some things going down in training camp where the hamstring injury was mentioned, but it wasn't thought to be anything serious. Now we go down the line. We're at the halfway point of the season, and it appears again. So that's the only thing we got to watch a little bit right there. Didn't want to see the Eagles push him too much. And that's why, again, he was not available in the Eagles' last game against the Giants. They didn't want to push that. That's respectable. A lot of people here, and I heard multiple different Eagles fans saying this in that last game, saying A.J. Brown's got to suck it up. He's a wimp. He's got to suck it up. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, this is an injury that happened back at the beginning of the season to him. And here it is showing up again, possibly a little bit worse. The last thing you need to do is push your wide receiver one over the limit. Therefore, if the Eagles say, again, I'm not going to jinx anything, but if they get far in the postseason, possibly February football, quote, 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 right? But we'll talk the postseason right now. Won't go to a head, right? They get in that key situation. You're not going to want to push your wide receiver one and drive him through the ground. But now here we go, folks. He's listed now on full participation. Corian Bennett, his pectoral injury, now on full participation. Saquon Barkley had a little something going on with his groin. Again, the past game, Saquon Barkley was seen kind of limping a little bit. And, of course, a lot of people were saying that groin, it looks like he kind of pulled something a little bit as he was kind of doing a limp. And a lot of people were like, oh, that's how he always walks. I'm like, no, that's not how he was always walking. He kind of walked it off and pushed through. As, again, you saw Tank Bigsby come in for a good amount of time. And then, as well, the Eagles at the very end of that Giants game kind of kept Barkley out for good measure. Again, righteously so. But you as well have other guys like Moro Ojomo listed back on full participation, coming off a concussion. Nolan Smith, like we mentioned, he had a triceps injury that he sustained in week 3. And listen, now back on full participation. So this is key with the depth that is coming back, and something where, again, this all goes into consideration with how the Eagles come out tonight. And overall, I think it's how the offense handles the momentum. Don't get me wrong, you need the defense to make some key stops, and it's going to be loud in that stadium. It always is. But that's more so for the offense to get communication across. And something that I would like to see the offense improve on tonight for the Eagles, and this is something that I've noticed throughout the entire season, is their ability to get plays in faster and get the ball off quick. Too many times have I seen the Eagles rushing around to the point where they end up screwing up and a delay of game is called, things like that. There are many times where the Eagles, they get set, they get out of the huddle, the play gets in, by the time Hurts is screaming behind his center, again, last game that was Brett Toth, by the time he's screaming behind the center, yelling solo, solo set, whatever, his cadence, everything, there's only about 2 or 3 seconds on that play clock. And this can all contribute to injuries happening, the play basically being completely screwed up where you have guys going over the limit, and next thing you know, you have multiple different problems happening on that play. Guys being out of position, guys not being where they're supposed to be. Again, injuries can happen because of that. If you're rushing around and not set on time, people don't realize how important that is. But mistakes like that can happen, and the rhythm can be affected. The momentum can be affected in your offense. So that is something where I'm going to be looking for that tonight with the Eagles. Their ability to get the ball set on time. Their ability to get the play in quick enough as well. Again, that can help big time with the rhythm of your offense. So we'll see what the Eagles can develop. Again, text into the show, WDBK text line 856-345-9325. What is your score prediction for tonight's Eagles-Packers matchup? Let's hear it. Leave your name and the place you're texting in from. And as well, you can also answer another question if you want to while you're at it, right? What do you see the Eagles' record being in these next upcoming 3 games? Tough opponents, right? Green Bay Packers tonight on Monday Night Football. Next week in Philadelphia, the Detroit Lions come to town for Sunday Night Football, back-to-back primetime games. Then you go to Dallas, Or you bring out the Kelly Greens again, looking to stay undefeated in the Kelly Greens. Will they win that as well? Answer it listed on the text line 856-345-9325. Text in. We'll see what they have to offer. We'll be back in a matter of moments here live on 91.5. You already know.
The award-winning Pine Barrens Chorus is looking for men of all ages who love to sing in the 4-part harmony a cappella style. The Pine Barrens Chorus is located in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and is a membership organization of 4-part harmony singers from ages 18 to 90 plus, representing all walks of life in southern New Jersey. If you are interested in joining, email contact@pinebarrens.org and let them know you're interested. Spring 2026 class registration is now open for students. Students should be aware of registration dates and deadlines for the upcoming semester. Planning schedules early helps ensure course availability and academic progress. Information about registration is available through official college channels such as camdencc.edu. This announcement is a reminder from 91.5 WDBK-FM Camden County College Radio.
Did you know we have a fully equipped fitness center right here on the Blackwood campus? It's true. Located inside Papiano Gymnasium and attached to the basketball court, the Wellspring Fitness Center is dedicated to serving all the health and fitness needs of Camden County College in a welcoming and supportive environment. Our staff of skilled professionals will help newcomers and gym rats alike to reach their goals and to develop a positive, healthy future. Open Monday through Friday, it is free of charge to all students, college personnel, and alumni with a current ID card. Free services include complimentary fitness assessments, exercise technique instruction, and workout programming advice. Stop paying for an out-of-the-way gym membership, pop in, and check it out today.
Here at Camden County College, mental health is one of our top priorities. Students face many challenges in pursuit of their academic and professional goals. If this sounds like something that you have felt or gone through before and are looking for that helping hand with support in dealing with stress, feeling overwhelmed, a personal matter, or a circumstance that may impact your academic success, well, make sure to reach out to the Center for Counseling and Wellness today. You can contact Andrea Falzone or Shirley Michelle Williams by email counseling@camdencc.edu or by phone at 856-227-7200 with either extension 4559 or extension 4556. And remember, you are not alone.
And welcome back to 91.5 WDBK for some Vinny's Voice, the final segment of Vinny's Voice. As yes, folks, we talked about the Eagles. We talked about what's coming up tonight, right? Monday Night Football. A lot of action going on in the Delaware Valley, you already know. But to finish out the segment, right, I'll give some love to the Camden County sports. I always talk Philly sports. I always do. And right now with the Flyers and the Sixers, if I got into them, they both lost their last game, right? Flyers lost in overtime. They at least got a point in their last game. The Sixers lost last. That was the I don't even know what to say. But let's get into some Camden County college sports. And I've had the privilege to call the past pretty much every basketball game leading up to this point, as the season started last week, but men's and women's basketball here at the college has been underway. And first, starting off with the women's. The women's team is now 2-1. They got wins over Anne Arundel Community College and as well with wins over Ocean County College. That was Tuesday the 4th and Thursday the 6th. We then cover them over the weekends at Papiano Gymnasium. The Rowan College of South Jersey Gloucester Roadrunners came to town. The Lady Cougars could not get the job done right there. 65-49 was the final score right there, with the RCSJ head coach getting his 200th win. So we'll like to note that as well. Yeah, definitely a lot happened right there. So women's team 2-1. Now this is coming from a team that broke the record in regular season wins last year with 25. And by the way, RCSJ was the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. Gloucester, to be specific. They beat RCSJ of Cumberland in the postseason last year, but did not beat RCSJ of Gloucester, and again, could not come to the W terms on Saturday with them. Now, on the other hand, the men's team was able to get a W in the matchup with the Roadrunners, and that was a game, I have to say, was definitely great to call. That was something on a complete another level. They battled towards the end, and they're 2-0. The men's team for Cougars basketball is 2-0. They beat Ocean County College on Thursday the 6th, 83-68. And as well with, like I said, RCSJ of Gloucester, 86-76 on Saturday. And this is something where, yes, our MVP on Saturday was the best of Copstick, who played, I mean, it was incredibly well. There were multiple times where we saw, and, you know, the Cougars having to show up in key situations. And Mikey Campbell, the Cougars' lead scorer, who picked up over his 300th point in this time with Camden County, unfortunately fouled out. Now, this game against RCSJ went into overtime. It was one heck of a thrill at Papiano Gymnasium on Saturday. This game went to overtime. And Mikey Campbell, being their lead man, definitely got he did his job. He showed up in every clutch situation he possibly could. There were some times he was a little shaky at the free throw line, but then was able to show up for it at the end. Mikey Campbell was an incredible game. But then he fouled out. And you have a freshman that came in here who has been doing incredibly well. Again, it's only been 2 games, and I get that. But still, a guy who came in, an Aiden Copestick, the freshman guard out of Deptford, New Jersey, the 6'3" freshman guard, I should be, as a matter of fact, who played incredibly well. A guy who showed up in a big-time key situation multiple times at the end of the game, 4 for 5, if I'm not wrong, at the free throw line, which really helped give the Cougars a substantial lead and a comfortable lead. As this game, matter of fact, there was a time where they led it for around 2. Then the Cougars came back. They were leading it by, a matter of fact, around 11 points at a specific time in the beginning of the second half, but then RCSJ closed the gap. The Roadrunners had multiple opportunities, and 3, a matter of fact, in the final 10 seconds of the game to win it for the Roadrunners. And all game, the Roadrunners were taking advantage of the Cougars' turnovers. Don't get me wrong, there were turnovers in that game, but RCSJ took advantage of all those turnovers, except at the very end in those final 10 seconds. They had 3 times where they could have got an easy 2 to untie this game. It was 73-73 going into overtime. At the end of that regulation, the Roadrunners couldn't get it down. And then overtime came around, a 5-minute overtime where the Cougars just left. They did their thing. They left the RCSJ, they left the Roadrunners in the dust. No better way to describe it. RCSJ did not get their first points in overtime until under the 2-minute mark. The Cougars held them off the board that long. The defense showed up in a key way. It was aggressive, but not to the point where they were getting fouls. As well, RCSJ just going all over the place, sending the Cougars to the foul line constantly, to the free throw line constantly. And yes, Aiden Copestick, who was our MVP of that rivalry weekend matchup, thriller at Papiano Gymnasium, was our big-time game MVP. So again, congratulations to Aiden Copestick and the rest of the Cougars on a fantastic win against the rival of RCSJ, Gloucester Roadrunners. Hopefully they can continue to keep their season rocking and rolling. And so we'll be back in action tomorrow night here from the Papiano Gymnasium against the Community College of Philadelphia. Tip-off time, 7 o'clock p.m., Tuesday the 11th. 91.5 will be in action for that game. Make sure to tune in, as you will not want to miss it. Again, tomorrow, 7 o'clock p.m. from the Papiano Gymnasium. And as well, not just the men's team, but the women's team. The Lady Cougars will also be in action against the same team, Community College of Philadelphia, except they will be starting 2 hours earlier. 5 o'clock p.m. is their start time. Come out and support the Cougars as they look to improve their winning percentages greatly. That's all for me. Vincent Vos here for this Midday Madness. Vinny's voice, to be specific. Have a great day, folks. If you weren't having a great Monday, I hope this show made it better. And if you already were having a great Monday, well, hopefully it just added to the greatness of your day. Have a good one, folks. And as always, you already know. God bless.
Are you ready to transfer or beginning your transfer research? Then join Transfer Services for a transfer fair at the Camden City campus.
Did you know that Camden County College has a dental hygiene clinic? Located at Halpern Hall Suite 107 on the Blackwood campus, the clinic is here to put a sparkle in your smile. With hours being 9 a.m. to noon, 1 to 4 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, and 12:30 to 3